Good morning, Tom. I'm super concerned, man. Over the past 24 hours, I've received hundreds and hundreds of emails and phone calls and text messages from men, women, and children who've been targeted, harassed, and insulted by emboldened Donald Trump supporters. Latinos have been told to go back to Mexico. Black folk have been told to go back to Africa. Muslim women have had their hijabs ripped off. LGBT folk have been told that Trump was coming for them. Many of these are children in schools. Bigoted Donald Trump-inspired graffiti has been written all over the place, on windows and doors of homes, on mosques, on store windows, on cars. I posted accounts on my Twitter and Facebook pages of people who've been punched and kicked and shoved and had drinks thrown in their faces randomly from Donald Trump supporters. I posted a lot of these accounts so people could see them for themselves, but this morning I want to read to you a letter from a Chicago school teacher that I received early this morning. Yesterday, he sent me a message, and he had posted on his bulletin board something powerful but troubling. And on his bulletin board, it said this. He's a middle school teacher in Chicago. It said, "Dear undocumented students, in this classroom, there are no walls. Dear black students in this classroom, your life matters. Dear Mexican students, you are not rapists or drug dealers. Dear female students, men cannot grab you. Dear Muslim students, you are not terrorists." And he sent me that photo because Donald Trump had just been elected, and he knew students were going to come in there and be deeply concerned about how they were viewed or seen. And I shared that photo on my Facebook page, and it went viral. And today he sent me this letter. And for all of our listeners, I just want to read it. It said, "Good morning, sir. I am the Chicago teacher who sent you the picture of my bulletin board. I'm grateful that you shared it. I'd like to share with you what I plan on saying to my students today. Love and solidarity to you from Chicago, Mike." And then he sent me this that he's going to share with his students. I want to read it for us. He said, "Good morning. 78 years ago was Kristallnacht, also known as the Night of Broken Glass, where groups led by Adolf Hitler destroyed Jewish communities. My 10-year-old grandmother in Prague was terrified. She had heard Hitler speak and witnessed the Hitler Youth march through the streets. While she escaped 3 days before he invaded her country, many of her relatives did not. 6 were killed at Auschwitz and 1 in Dachau. I talked to my grandmother a lot. She is someone I turn to for guidance and inspiration, but even she has become discouraged. She told me that she sees creeping fascism in Donald Trump supporters. Yesterday in Philadelphia, several shop windows were vandalized with swastikas and the words Sieg Heil 2016. It's an eerie reminder of our not-so-distant past. In the nearly 9 years that I have worked with youth, I have never been more at a loss for words," he said. "There are no words that can do justice to the valid feeling of terror that many of us are feeling right now. I don't know what to say to you to make sense of all of this because nothing can." He thought his students might say, "But you're white, you don't understand." And to that I would say you are absolutely correct. He continued, "You may remember 2 years ago when Eric Garner, the black man, said, 'I can't breathe,' as he was choked and killed. On December 3rd, 2014, a jury decided not to indict the officer who put him in that chokehold. I was full of rage and anger and sadness, and I wondered what I would tell my students the next day. How do you hold on to hope when things feel hopeless? How do you continue to fight for justice when it does not exist? The answer is this: there is no other option. We cannot afford to be complacent. We cannot afford to be silent. We cannot afford to be bystanders when groups that are not a part of us are targeted. During Kristallnacht, many non-Jewish German citizens did nothing. They enabled the violence. We cannot afford to do the same, especially for our black communities and communities of color, because it is clear that in the United States, black lives and other lives don't matter. We must stand like we've never stood before," he's telling his students, "for all of our brothers and sisters. Black, Latino, Muslim, LGBTQ, and all the communities that Trump and his supporters have explicitly targeted. For my many years during our graduation, our 8th grade students sang, 'You Raised Me Up.' I'm reminded of those words today because it is now all of our duty to raise each other up more than ever before. And Tom, what disturbs me so much down in my soul is that this is a teacher speaking to his middle school students who are frightened about what this new America means for them. And that's the question that I hear all over the country, and the question that I get more than any other is, what are we going to do? What are we supposed to do? And first and foremost, I think we have to continue to protest, and protests are breaking out all over the country, and prepare to resist Donald Trump and whatever policies he puts forth. But I'm deeply concerned and troubled in every way. Oh, God, yes. I mean, you'll see these accounts all over the place of people who, in stores, I think I probably posted 5 or 6 of just people who were randomly confronted in stores, women, Muslims, immigrants, people who had their, women who had their scarves yanked off of their heads. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and these aren't conspiracy theories, Sybil. I mean, these are folk that I know, that other people know, who are leaving these stores in tears, like frantically. There was a woman who was confronted and threatened at a gas station last night. I'm about to post something on my timeline now from several students at a school in Pennsylvania, and they sent me a video. I kid you not, of white students at their school yesterday marching down the hallway with Donald Trump signs saying white power in their school. And I mean, if I had not seen it for myself, it would be hard to believe. But these are, I mean, I had a friend who worked for years at Google, and he lives out in Silicon Valley. And these are people who are born in this country. He's an Indian man, and he was confronted at the gas station, and they called him like a stereotypical name and then just peeled off. And so folk feel fully emboldened and empowered to be ugly like this. Yeah, and you know, people are going to say, well, that has nothing to do with the protests, and we don't know. But what we do see is this type of violence is breaking out, and I think it's a clear indication of what Trump means. But we knew this, we said this, and we did our part to beg America to not go in this direction. But here we are. Yeah, I think it's going to get. Yeah, you know, I do every day, and I'm concerned. You know, my wife's concerned, and my family's concerned. And it's hard to even figure out how you process it. You know, I take every step I can to protect myself, but I'm honestly more concerned about, um, immigrants and Muslims and others and the most vulnerable people among us who are experiencing this. Children. Um, I posted a story of a young boy in an elementary school. A group of white kids assaulted him, and chanting Trump stuff and saying he was going to be sent back to Mexico. And his mother sent pictures of bruises all over his body. And so, um, I, yeah. Oh man, that's all over the country. That's happening. I mean, college students, middle, high school students, because kids are coming and thinking somebody's going to come and get them. Somebody. I mean, and and we have to understand that's what Donald Trump said he would do. Oh, I can hear you. Yes. Hey. Oh, that's all right. Mm. Well, I get that when I speak at colleges and stuff, I get parents who ask me that all the time, and I have 5 kids, and we kind of have a sliding scale of what we tell our kids. So, my my teenage my teenage girls, we tell them everything, and they understand. They understand the full truth of where we are. My 10-year-old son, we tell a little bit, and because literally, his brain is still forming, his self-esteem and identity are still forming. But my 4-year-old and 7-year-old, we tell them next to nothing, and because they will be gripped with fear and can't fully process it. And so, depending on the age, the ages of your kids, you have to tell them the full truth, and don't hold back in terms of saying no, 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 that's not a good idea. It's a terrible idea, and explain to them why it is. Um, but it's a lot of people are put in terrible positions right now for sure. But Tom, man, it's going to get a lot worse, and this is he has not been inaugurated yet, and we're talking about this is what it has meant for Americans to see him empowered. We have not yet seen what it will mean if Rudy Giuliani is his attorney general, and that's what he's saying he's going to do, and so uh, we're going to have to organize against a Donald Trump presidency in ways that right now we have not done. And I think most of us, while we held out that this was possible, all of our efforts were put into stopping him. But now that it's real, we're gonna have to do something totally different. Yeah, we do. Well, right. I agree. Well, folk who specialize in those things, voting rights and stuff, they've been outraged. But I think there was a part of everybody that just thought, well, we'll fix that, but we'll win in spite of the challenges. And I think even what President but here's the thing, man. Folk, absolutely. Yeah, take care, guys. Hug. Good luck, Huggy. Uh-huh. Hey, everybody. I'm gonna stay on here for a second. Let me turn my mic off. I just finished. I just finished doing the Tom Joyner morning show, and sorry for this lighting. Let me see if I can move here. Um, the lighting is bad everywhere we go. So just finished doing. How about that? I just finished doing the Tom Joyner morning show, and I do that every Tuesday and Thursday. Here we're right by Penn Station in New York, and grateful to have the opportunity to do it. And so what I do is I just turn on Facebook Live and record my segment. But it'd be even better if you listen to it on air because you can hear the back and forth between Tom and the crew and I. But I'm going to be using this Facebook Live a lot more to communicate with you all. I hope you heard what I said. I'm not an alarmist. Like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Um, I'm deeply, deeply concerned about what's happening in our country. Um, I think we've only scratched the surface of how low we're going to go. I think the ugliness that we see from Trump supporters will get worse. Um, and we are about 69 days away from Donald Trump's inauguration. And we're going to have to use these 69 days to organize. And we're not organized for a Donald Trump presidency. And I don't mean that as a diss at all to protesters and organizers and any of that. It's not. I'm saying as a nation, as those of us who protest a Donald Trump presidency, we were not prepared for him to be elected, but here we are. And we cannot assume that he's going to become anybody other than or do anything other than what he said he would do. And he's already kind of floated out some of the people he hopes to appoint in key positions. And if we sit idly by and then wait to see what's going to happen, that's a problem. Because by that time, it will be too late. It's harder to organize in the midst of chaos, and we need to use these 2 months and some change to come up with creative ways to organize each other. I'll be doing that. I'll spend a lot of my time doing it, and others will as well. And I love you all. I believe in us. No matter what has happened with the election, I know we are powerful, and I don't trust a lot of folk, but I trust us and trust the power of what we can do. I said on the evening that he was elected that we're going to have to form a real resistance to the Trump presidency, and that's not me making a threat. It's not at all in terms of an armed resistance. I'm saying that I don't believe in what he believes. His values are not my values. His policy ideas contradict my faith, my character. His very existence as president contradicts what I believe in and stand for. And so we're going to have to figure out creative ways to resist his policies, his executive orders, and others. And then lastly, I'll close with this. And then I saw a few questions that I'll try to answer. We're going to have to really prepare to protect the most vulnerable men, women, and children among us who are already being targeted by Trump supporters, but are being that will be targeted by Donald Trump himself. And we're gonna have to take, real action steps, and I'll share those in the weeks ahead to protect vulnerable people. And they need us. And again, assuming the best about Donald Trump is a problem, and assuming the best about the people around him is a problem. And so we have work to do, and this is real. This is not a test. This is not fake. We are in this moment, and we're in it together. So ignore the crazy folk on this page. I see folks saying randomness or whatever. A few of you have said a few things that I'll try to address very quickly, and I got to run. The Electoral College has not officially voted for Donald Trump yet, and that's how it goes in this country. And so a lot of people are saying, hey, there is this date where the Electoral College will vote, and there is. I won't be dedicating any of my energy or resources to that, but it is possible that the electors could change their mind. They have that power, and so some people will be focusing on that, and I support them, but I specifically won't be doing that. I just want you to understand that the things that we're facing, we have faced terrible foes many times, and we overcame that. And we have not decades, but centuries and centuries of history of us overcoming some really terrible things in this country and all around the world. And so lean on what we've done in the past. as your inspiration for what we can do now. All right? Love y'all. Appreciate you. And yeah, I'll be at Georgetown University next week. I'll be at University of Pennsylvania next week. And appreciate you all. Take care.